Hi everyone, we're ready for chapter 2 of My Life as a Broken Bungee Cord, and chapter 2 is called Bully for Me. Run, Wally, run! I'd already figured that part out. When a giant bull charges at you full speed, you decide that stuff pretty early. I sprinted across the field as fast as I could. Unfortunately, as fast as I could was a little slower than as fast as the bull could. He gained on me with every step. Of course, it would have helped if I had had my shoes on, or my socks, or any other stitch of clothing, but I'd left them all hanging on the back of the barbed wired fence. Now it was just me and my Fruit of the Looms. Go, Wally, go! I was going, but so was Bully Boy. I could hear him breathing and snorting right behind me. Jump over the fence, Miguel called. Jump over the fence! They stood up ahead on the other side of a wooden fence, cheering me on. I threw a look over my shoulder. A bad idea. Sometimes if you're going to die, it's best not to know the details, like how sharp the hooves are, how far the horns stick out, and how angry the eyes bulge. By the looks of things, this guy was definitely in the mood for a little snack. A human shish kebab, to be exact. He obviously wanted me to stick around for dinner. Now, I like eating out as much as the next guy. I'm just not crazy about being the main course. Go, Wally, go! The fence was just feet from me. Unfortunately, the bull was just inches. Jump, Wally, jump! It was now or never. I leaped into the air and gave it everything I had. Everyone watched in awe as I sailed high and far. It was a gorgeous leap. Everything was perfect. Well, except for the part where I hit the fence. Ugh! On the wrong side. Well, that about wrapped it up for living. In a second, Bully Boy and I would begin a game of darts, with me being the dartboard. Too bad. There were so many things I'd wanted to do before I died, like quarterback the Dallas Cowboys, travel to Mars, shave, but none of that would happen. It was all over, except for the funeral, which I probably wouldn't hang around for anyway. They're always so depressing, especially when they're your own. Suddenly, Miguel's big hands grabbed me by the shoulders and dragged me over the top board of the fence. That was the good news. The bad news was he managed to scrape off a few layers of my skin in the process. Ow, ow, ooh, that smarts! But a few chunks of skin were a small price to pay for the rest of my flesh. Suddenly, crash! The bull hit the fence. Everybody screamed. Well, everybody but me. Being the courageous type that I am, I didn't let out a peep. No, sir, not a shout, not even a whimper. It's hard to scream when you've already passed out. So, ow! How long, ouch, have you been, working for this resort? I sat next to a big stone fireplace in the hotel lobby talking to Miguel. I was also pulling out thorns from my tender tootsies. Thanks to Miguel's quick thinking, the bull didn't get me. Thanks to leaving my shoes and socks on the fence, the thorns and thistles did. I've been working here about 4 months, he said. It's really beautiful up here, Wall Street sighed as she gazed out the picture window at the mountains and the trees. You think we'll get the chance to go camping? No way, Opera shouted over his Walkman. The guy always shouted over his Walkman, but he didn't listen to heavy metal. No, sir. Opera didn't get his name for his love of a Guns N' Roses band. It was Mozart to the max. Haydn to the hilt. Rock and rollin' with Rossini. In short, the guy loved classical music. Almost as much as he hated the great outdoors. Come on, Opera, I teased. You should get out there and experience the elements. Opera scowled. If God wanted us to experience the elements, he wouldn't have invented central heating and air conditioning. What are you afraid of? I persisted. Nothing, unless you count the little things like avalanches, flash floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, forest fires. Then, of course, there are these lovely bears, cougars, wolves, skunks, bats, coyotes, ticks, rattlesnakes, scorpions, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes? Hey, I worked hard for my blood. Why should I share it? But Opera, Miguel interrupted. Once you understand the wilderness and learn to respect it, there isn't that much to fear. Unless you're flying balloons or doing other foolhardy things, Miguel's mom argued. Mama, he said, turning toward her, I'm 20 years old. That's my job. As recreational director, one of the things I do is take guests up in the balloon. Madness, she shook her head. Utter madness. Mama, I've studied and taken tests. I'm fully qualified to. You could have done that at home. They have balloons at home. Why quit school? Why move halfway across the state, away from your own family? Suddenly her voice began to quiver and sound a little high. Mama, Miguel spoke soothingly as he crossed the room to where she was sitting. Mama, we've got 4 days together. Please don't spend it arguing, okay? He reached out and touched her arm. Okay? She bit her lip and nodded. It was pretty obvious she was fighting back tears. I threw a look over at Wall Street. She was doing her own version of lip chewing. You could tell she really loved the guy. Finally, Opera cleared his throat. So, if we're like guests here, does that mean we can go up in the balloon too? Sure, Miguel answered. We could do it tomorrow if you want. Wall Street's face brightened. Her mom's darkened. And mine? Well, mine started sweating like a fire hose. You see, Heights and me, we're not the best of friends. In fact, remember that little dream I had about falling with the eagle? Technically, that wasn't a dream. It was a nightmare, like the type I've had at least once a month for as long as I can remember. Mom says it came from some childhood trauma. Dad says it's something I'll grow out of when I become a real man. Bert and Brock, my twin brothers, say it's because the doctor dropped me on my head. The point is, I'm so scared of heights that I get dizzy stepping up on street curbs. No way was I riding in some overgrown kid's toy. An hour later, Opera and I were up in our room unpacking. Well, Opera was unpacking. I was pulling out old Betsy, my laptop computer. This sudden exposure to fresh air and nature had already started me thinking of another story. Go long, Ecology Man shouts as he runs from the charging moose and fires off a perfect pass. The crowd of forest animals cheers as the football, actually a 3.5-pound rainbow trout, spins through the air. Don't worry, rainbow trout love to spin. At the far end of the field, a grizzly bear stretches his paws high into the air, but the trout is too high above old Grizz's head to catch. The overgrown furball must leap into the air. Looking like Michael Jordan in a fur coat, the bear makes a tremendous jump. He catches the slippery seafood and races toward the goal line. The forest creatures cheer. Grizz is at the 15-yard line, the 10, the 5, and then, just when everyone is sure he's going to score, that they'll win and go to the Super Bowl, Grizz pops the delicious tidbit into his mouth and swallows it whole. The crowd groans, wolves howl, crows cry, and slugs slime. No, Ecology Man shouts. You're supposed to run with the ball, not eat it. Old Grizz shrugs with a sheepish smile and a rather loud burp. Ecology Man shakes his head. For years he's tried to teach his forest friends the fine art of football, and for years he has failed. Abandoned in the forest as a child, Ecology Man was raised by a family of porcupines. Not a bad life, though it made hugging and kissing a little, here it comes, sticky. Hey, I warned you. He didn't remember much of his human past, except how his older brothers, Bert and Brock, always hogged the TV for Monday Night Football. As he grew, he learned to call upon the powerful forces of nature, like wind, rain, fire, and underarm motor. He also became best buds with all the forest creatures. Well, except for those slug guys, and you really can't blame him for that. Ever try to slap a slug on the back after a good laugh? It can get a little messy, unless you're wearing a raincoat and safety goggles. Suddenly, a swarm of bees swoop down onto the field. They race to our biodegradable big boy bearing the bulging biceps and buzz his beanie. Say that 5 times fast. He strains to make out what they're saying, but they're too excited. He shouts back, bzz, 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 bzz. Translation? Say what? Instead of going through all that again, thank goodness, the bees drop to the grass and spell out their message. Toxoid breath. Ecology Man gasps. The mechanical monster toxoid breath is on the loose. Created by the mad industrial scientist Marcus Makeabuck, this giant robot storms through the environment, killing everything in its path. His methods are endless, but the results are always the same. Bye-bye birdies, hello freeways and shopping malls. Suddenly, there is a loud crash, then the splintering of trees, and the roar of an old-fashioned 8-cylinder gas guzzler. Ecology Man spins around as fast as the robot smashes out of the forest and rolls toward him in its giant tank tread feet. It's no taller than a man, but stretches as wide as an 8-lane freeway. Toxoid breath, our hero cries. The mechanical monster laughs. Chemical waste drools from the corners of its lips. Suddenly, it exhales a cloud of poisonous gas at our environmentally safe hero. But that's okay. Ecology Man visited Los Angeles. He knows all about breathing poisonous air. Next, Toxoid Breath reaches down and snaps on the stereo in its iron belly. Suddenly, the piece of the forest is destroyed by the blasting noise of the heavy metal group, Mega Everything. The noise pollution blows over the trees, forces animals to race for cover, and worst of all, musses our hero's hair. That's right, Ecology Man's hair is no longer perfectly plastered in place. Now he's mad. Real mad. He thrusts out his manly jaw and calls to the forces of nature. Hey, Wally, you gonna turn that light off or what? I looked up. Opera was already in bed. I glanced at my watch. It was nearly 10 o'clock. Sorry, I said as I pressed F10 and shut old Betsy down for the night. I was really getting into that story. No sweat, Opera said. But we're going to need our sleep if we're going up in the balloon early tomorrow morning. The word hit me like a ton of bricks. Not the word sleep, not the word early, not even the word balloon. It was that other word, the U word, the one that starts with a U and ends with a P and doesn't have any letters in between. Shouldn't, my voice kind of cracked, shouldn't we call up our folks and get permission first? I asked. Already did, Opera yawned. Miguel talked to both your parents and mine while you were up here typing. Oh, I said, already fearing the worst. And it's a go! First thing in the morning. I tell you, there are times when you think your folks love you and times you're not so sure. But as I crawled under the sheets that night, I no longer had a doubt. I could finally rest assured that they absolutely, positively, in every way, shape, and form, hated me. It looked like I was going up in the balloon, which meant I was going to die. And as we all know, dying can really ruin your spring vacation. That's the end of Chapter 2. Chapter 3 is Up, Up, and Away. So we'll have to see what that entails next time on Monday when I'll read that chapter for you. I hope you guys enjoyed Daisy's premiere in our story today. At least she wasn't barking too much today. So I'll see you on Monday, you guys. Enjoy your weekend.